So we start going around door to door in the neighborhood, knocking on doors to see if anyone else has seen this. And within 10 minutes, we find 7 people who heard the commotion, opened their curtains, looked out, saw him, closed the curtains, went back to what they were doing.
Oh, my.
Remember, co-workers on the ops floor, their senior call takers and dispatchers saying to me at that time, where's the hope? Well, this is the message I have for the pagan community. You are the hope. You are the people who can stand up and set an example and show the world how it could be. You are the people who can set an example and show everybody how it is meant to be. All you have to do is set an example. I 2 years ago started an experiment. I would walk down the street, and as I would go past people, and none of these people knew me, they would sort of turtle up and turn away and try to look the other way and avoid eye contact. But what I started doing is, I've got a hat, I've got my hat on, and as I walked up, I tipped my hat. I go, good afternoon, how are you today? And I did this to every single person as I went down the street. Inside of 6 months, who I've never seen before, as they're walking down the street towards me, they're doing the same thing. It's back to me. Difficult thing. You don't have to do earth-shaking things, just little things like that. Open the door for people, greet them. All they've seen on CNN and all these, news programs is awful stuff happening in the world. Maybe they've come from a really stressful place, and maybe you're the only person all day that's going to say a nice thing to them, but it's going to make a huge difference. And that's the message that lately I've been trying to carry out to the pagan community. This is what we can do, and we can make a big difference with this. And if you don't believe that intention like this can make a big difference, check the Intention Experiment website online. You'll see examples of how people get together in large groups, focus on a particular issue, and make things happen just by putting their intent behind something. And that's the kind of stuff that we do in the order as well. Energy follows intent. You're the person that supplies the intent. That's magic. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. This is quite interesting. It's what a reputation you have. And I'm sure everyone in the community would benefit. This is wonderful to hear those activities. So, yeah.
We actually have a message here that somebody typed in. They say, it's my understanding that you also have done some diversity training among your fellow police, fire, and emergency response techs. How receptive were they to your message there in Canada?
Well, I was all over North America talking about these issues to police agencies, starting back in the early 80s. And in the beginning, when I started in Wicca 42 years ago, there was maybe 6 books, and 5 of them you had the special order. There was no internet. There was very little information. There was a lot of misinformation. Now, there is a huge amount of quality information online, people like yourself putting information out there. And our community, if you look at the census statistics, we are the fastest growing religious community in the world. We are, the pagan communities. And so there are a lot of us out there. And the indication that this is happening is we're starting to see professional organizations like Officers of Avalon, like the Pagan Alliance of Nurses, like the Military Pagan Network. And we are just growing by leaps and bounds. So there are an awful lot of people in that professional community, and there are a lot of pagan cops. I have never, ever done a speech to a group of police officers, ever, and not had at least one person come up to me afterwards and say, okay, if you can do it, I can do it, I'm pagan. Every single time. There's more than you realize out there. Yeah. And it's an indication of how we're branching out into society. And all of those talks that I've done, I've received positive feedback from other minorities. Every time I go and do something like this, I would get Sikh officers in our department coming to talk to me. I would get Jewish officers. I would get, people doing Native American beliefs, because we all have had the same sort of experience by people trying to marginalize us, by people trying to suggest that religion is a one-size-fits-all proposition. And it's not. We're all out there looking at the same thing. If you put 10 people in a field and they all witness the same spiritual event, one person sees Jesus, one sees Mary, one sees Urzuli, one sees Gaia, at least one sees a UFO and one's going to be going, what are you all looking at? You know, I mean, we're all looking at the same thing, but because we all come from different cultural, social, and educational backgrounds, it appears different. If we can all get used to the idea that it's okay to be different, then we can all get along, because it's all the same thing, you know? I mean, I'm not trying to convert anybody to what we're doing in the order here. We're just putting it out there, making it available to people that want to try it on. But, you know, the interesting thing about the order, even though we call ourselves a Wiccan Order of Knights, we got people who are practicing Confucianism. We have Sikh students. We've got, you know, you name a religion, we have students from there. So it really, you know, appeals to everybody. And I think it's really important to take a multi-faith approach like that, because we want to bring people together in the world. You know, the United Nations Religion Initiative is a good example of this. The guy that founded that went out to all the major world religions leaders, said, I would like to create a forum where we can all get together and talk. Would you like to take part? And they all said no. So he went right down to the grassroots and started from the bottom and started working up. That's where it took off. Because really, you know, when you get away from the power plays and the stuff, the businesses that people have created some of these faiths into, you can find people who are really interested in sharing spiritual stuff, and they're okay with being with people with a different point of view.
Yeah, leading. There's a lot to be said for like leading with examples and
Right.
and actually doing something that somebody's recognized as beneficial.
Right.
Well, thank you very much, Kerr.
Thank you so much. That was a lot of information.
Oh, yeah. And
And
I recommend everyone go to his website.
Yes, indeed.
This is some very important information. It's a good tradition. Their order seems to be getting a lot of headway in different parts of the world.
That's so
this
cool.
is good.
That's so cool. Yeah, so we'll have his website. We'll have links to his website on our website. Yeah, I think that's going to be awesome. You know, it's a pretty interesting guest there. So
Now we have a commercial coming up.
yes, we're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, we will have our second guest.
Mark Silver.
I'm chasing twisters down avenue.
You're watching Modern Pagan TV. If you'd be interested in advertising on our program or becoming a sponsor, please email info@modernpagan.tv. We'll be right back after these important messages.
Same communication to hear unspoken